Welcome to the mighty Sub 3 of Commerce and Labor. Good to see you all. A lot of familiar faces. It's almost like family here in this subcommittee, although we have a lot of new faces up here on the dais, and I want to welcome all of them to this really interesting and hardworking subcommittee. Shall we take the roll, Mr. Clerk? Looks like we have a quorum. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. I know there's always a lot of interest in the legislation that works its way through this subcommittee. Just by way of planning purposes, I want to let people know that the overwhelming likelihood is that this subcommittee will need to meet every Tuesday and every Thursday, at least until crossover, to get through what looks to be a pretty daunting number of bills headed our way. So if this happens to be the subcommittee to which you are assigned for one reason or another, and I see a lot of folks for whom that's true, just plan on being with us in this same format. We will go last after the other subcommittees have gone and go until we finish our work that day. Hopefully I won't be buying that much pizza this year. We'll see. One bit of administrivia here. We will be taking by for the day HB 74, HB 84, HB 120, and HB 323. Is there a motion? So moved. Second. All in favor? Any opposed? We'll take those by for the day. So let's get started. The docket reads HB 2 from Delegate Sickles, but Delegate Sickles is no longer with us. He's alive, but he's no longer with us. He's well, thank goodness. Actually, we've got to step up here to Delegate Carr. Delegate Carr, you have now HB 2.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee. Mr. Chair, I would move the adoption of the substitute, which includes 4 modest changes that do not change the substance of the bill. More specifically, the substitute specifies the minimum number of households that must be served in the APCO territory, harmonizes this new program with pre-existing utility efficiency programs, ensures this new program leverages pre-existing efficiency programs at DHCD, and changes a reporting requirement from annually to triannually.
There a motion with substitute before us? Second. Probably moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Substitutes before us. Thank you, Delegate Carr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill passed both chambers last year with strong bipartisan support, but was vetoed. Before you now is just a slightly updated version. HB 2 addresses the rising cost of living that are a universal concern of every legislator. This bill is narrowly aimed at those of our constituents faced with some of the very highest cost, but who can least afford them, particularly during these very cold winter months. Dominion and APCO have good energy efficiency programs for their low-income customers, and this bill gives them a nudge to expand that work with an efficiency program that would deliver more cost savings than any other. The bill does so by setting a performance target for APCO and Dominion to deliver efficiency upgrades to low-income customers still stuck on the most expensive kind of furnace heating technology and upgrading them to high-efficiency heat pumps. I know our utilities want to help their customers too, so that's a target that is easily attainable for our utilities over the next 6 years. Some quick background on this challenge and why utilities need to get this program going. According to VCU's Institute for Sustainable Energy and Environment, low-income Virginians have an energy burden worse than the national average. And right here in Richmond, the energy burden is even worse, according to the American Council for an Energy Efficiency Economy, with some households paying a quarter of their income for energy. This bill takes direct aim at that excessive energy burden with high-efficiency heat pumps that cut heating costs by more than a half. That high cost is especially felt in EPCO's Southwest Territory, which has many more old households stuck with these expensive old furnaces. And if any of my fellow members have had an old furnace in their basement fueled by a tank in the backyard, you know firsthand how expensive it is to fill up that tank in cold winter months. The cost savings that utilities can deliver here are very real. According to federal data across the South, oil costs almost 3 times as much as electricity to heat your home, and propane costs more than double. So we have the opportunity to cut heating costs in half, or potentially even more, with this bill. This bill would save our customers over $1,400 per year. What's more, this program pays for itself by shifting customer costs away from oil payments and instead investing in the electric grid with more ratepayer revenue. In short, this bill will add a significant cost-saving tool to EPCO and Dominion's low-income efficiency programs and immediately slash the cost of living for those Virginians, urban and rural, who need it the most. Walton Shepard, on behalf of the National Resource Defense Council, is here to speak on the bill and is able to answer more specific questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate Carr. Are there any questions from members of the committee for Delegate Carr? Seeing none, let's go to the audience. Is there anyone here who wants to testify in favor of HB 2?
Walton Shepard with the NRDC. We do support this bill because it will significantly help make ends meet for folks living in each one of your districts, especially as the delegate pointed out in APCO territory where there's available savings of up to $1,400. If you've had a tank in your backyard that needs to be filled up, you know it costs $500, $600, $700 sometimes to fill that tank. It makes winter a tough season to make ends meet. This is a bill where delivering affordability is real, and that's why I asked your support. And I know that the oil industry is opposed to this bill. To them, I would say this bill is not about them. They've seen record profits in the last several years. This bill is instead about folks living in your districts. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Bob Shippey with Sierra Club, and we support the bill.
Anyone else? Feel free to come closer. We're into time saving here in sub 3.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Chrissy Noonan with 7 Health Strategy Group on behalf of Dominion Energy. I want to thank the patron for working with us. We do support the bill. We have a few edits that we have talked with the patron about and with NRDC to improve the workability and ensure that they're sort of mitigate for unintended consequences. But we support the bill moving through the process and look forward to seeing a draft Thursday. Thank you so much.
Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, Amanda Cox with Appalachian Power. We are in the same posture as Dominion. We are working with the patron and the stakeholders, and we look forward to getting to a place to support.
Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee, Dana Wiggins with the Virginia Poverty Law Center. We appreciate Delegate Carr and all of the other stakeholders involved in this bill. We will continue to work with her and with all the other stakeholders to make sure that it's in a place where customers' bills will actually be able to come down. We appreciate the work. Thank you.
Anyone in the audience who wants to testify against the bill? Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. Mike O'Connor with Virginia Petroleum Marketers and the Propane Association. Just want to talk about the scope of the bill for a minute. In Virginia, there are 3,746, 256 households. Of that percentage, this bill applies to 289,969, and it applies only to those where the product is delivered to the home and stored on site. So those are Virginia domiciled small businesses, and we are opposed to the bill. We talked to my delegate, and I apologize for opposing her bill, and to Mr. Shepard, and offered an amendment that would make this apply statewide, but that was, we were told that would gut the bill. So what you have before you is a bill targeted at Virginia small business specifically, and we're opposed.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else opposed to the bill? All right, we have one person online who wants to testify, I think, in favor of the bill. Mr. Counts? He's not there. All right, Mr. Counts is not here.
Chairman.
Delegate Kilgore.
I'm reading the bill, and who, and maybe this is a question for the State Corporation Commission or Dominion, who is actually paying how's Dominion and Appalachian Power going to pay for these upgrades to these low-income households?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, Walton Shepard with NRDC. Under this bill, it would be paid for by a combination of utility funds, state funds, and ideally federal funds as well, to combine those funding sources to leverage those different funding sources. And a unique aspect of this is the additional revenue that goes into the system from having new electricity hookups. That found revenue pays for the program over time.
Mr. Chairman.
Delegate Kilgore.
So there's no increase on my bill or my constituents' bill to pay for this?
Well, there's no free lunch when it comes to utility funding. Right. Everyone has to pay somewhere, but because of the net savings to customers that take advantage of that, as well as the additional revenue that goes into the system, it's a net win-win.
And final question.
Delegate Kilgore.
Final question. So it also appears that none of this can happen unless the State Corporation Commission finds it in the public interest?
Mr. Chairman, that is correct. As with all energy efficiency programs, they must go through the commission process.
Delegate Williams.
Yes, question for the patron, I guess. So this is the first time that I've heard that there's going to be state funding used for this bill. I thought that this was a nudge or a recommendation to the utilities to come up with ideas, not forced payment. Am I reading it wrong?
Mr. Chairman, there is state funds available for low-income oriented efficiency programs that are already utilized for low-income improvements. So this would be an opportunity to leverage those as well, just like other energy efficiency programs. The most obvious example is the Weatherization Assistance Program, the WAP program.
Mr. Chair,
Delegate Williams.
that answered my question as far as you're accessing an already established fund. This is not a new thing. You can access those state funds. I understand now. Thank you.
Delegate Will.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Excuse me. So, especially in this time that, one of the hot topics around the state is electricity and the having electricity. And so, I leaned towards this legislation last year, but even in that short period of time, a lot of things have changed. When we look at units per energy, when converting the houses over, and I know you may say you're only talking about a relatively small number in the territory, but does that have concern about we're switching over to electricity when we're already at peak demand? We're being warned we don't have enough electricity, and so now we're going to increase that demand.
Sure, that is Mr. Chairman, that is a very fair question. We don't think small customers should be left out of being electrified. We're electrifying very large industrial-sized customers. Electrifying these, mom and pop electrical systems would contribute relatively little to this peak load that you're describing, as well as it's also manageable load under new programs from the utilities. You can participate in electricity markets as a civilian moving forward. So this is manageable load, whereas industrial loads are often ramps up and it stays up and you can't manage it. This is at least manageable.
Thank you. Any other questions from members of the committee?
Mr. Chair.
Delegate Williams.
Question for the patron.
Delegate Williams.
I was just curious if you'd be willing to go on record that you wouldn't force a mandate in the future to meet a percentage like that, 30% efficiency or something like that, that would cause increases in ratepayer costs and possibly taxpayers' costs to fund those state funds we were talking about. Because right now it's a nudge. I wanted to see if you would keep it at a nudge instead of a mandate.
You're asking Delegate Carr if she might bring a bill sometime in the uncertain future, is that the question?
Fair question, I think. She's interested in making it permissive or mandate, that's all.
Generally, I'm not for mandates.
Okay, that's the answer. Thank you.
Any other questions from the panel? Let me just say, I think I heard you say, Delegate Carr, that you're still in conversations with some of the stakeholders. I think Ms. Noonan, representing Dominion, indicated that you're kind of talking with them.
That's correct.
And as I understand it, there's some interplay between this bill and the next bill we're going to hear.
That's correct. Yes, Mr. Chairman.
So just to warn the members of the committee and our chairman sitting down there on the end, when this, if this should get to full committee, I understand there may well be some further clarification and changes to the bill that'll make it even better.
That's correct.
Thank you. Committee acts on motion.
Move to report.
Second.
I'm sorry, I moved to report as substitute.
So the motion is to report the substitute. It's properly seconded. Clerk will please open the roll. Please close the roll. Substitute reports favorably 7-2.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, thank you so much.
Thank you, Delegate Carr. Next, we have Delegate LaVere Bowling, HB 3.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. I want to begin by sharing that the legislation before you is something you all have already voted on last session, minus one member here on the committee. And it was HB 1935 and was vetoed by former Governor Youngkin. But HB 3 directs the Department of Housing and Community Development in collaboration with the Department of Energy and the Department of Social Services to establish the Income Qualified Energy Efficiency and Weatherization Task Force. So the purpose of the task force is to identify barriers to access and enrollment in existing energy efficiency and weatherization programs, and also to evaluate how state, federal, and utility resources can be better coordinated to more effectively deliver those energy efficient housing, weatherization services, and whole home energy efficiency upgrades for income qualified individuals and households across the Commonwealth. This includes Virginians living in small and large multifamily buildings, single family homes, and also manufactured housing. Now, across Virginia, we know too many families are experiencing an energy burden that forces impossible choices between keeping the lights on, buying groceries, and paying for medication, right? We've seen it time and time again. And these challenges are often compounded by fragmented programs, long wait lists, and homes that are not weatherization ready. So the point of this bill is to bring together the key agencies, the advocates, utilities, housing experts, and Virginians with lived experience to take a comprehensive look at these challenges and to develop the real actionable solutions. The task force within the legislation, as you'll read it, is charged with examining existing funding sources that we already have, identifying gaps and barriers, particularly those unique to the multifamily buildings and manufactured homes. And what they'll do is make some policy recommendations to improve the coordination and delivery of those services. The task force is tasked with giving a detailed report to the governor and the General Assembly by September 2027. And in that plan, they should include estimated budget, a timeline, and potential funding sources to ensure that those weatherization-ready repairs and whole home energy efficiency retrofits can, in fact, be provided to all eligible income qualified households statewide by December of 2034. Again, the bill is all about coordination and efficiency and transparency, and I thank you for your consideration today.
Thank you very much, Delegate LaVere Bowling. Any questions from the members of the panel? I see Delegate Williams.
Mr. Chair, I was a question for the patron.
Go ahead.
I was wondering, like a landlord wouldn't be able to qualify for this, but if you, right, at this point, a landlord or some sort of like commercial building where we have tenants, they don't qualify at this time, I don't guess. This is all residential.
Mr. Chair, I would say to the delegate that currently I am not sure if existing programs of energy efficiency and weatherization include landlords, but in fact, the bill is directed towards tenants, individual tenants.
Mr. Chair.
Delegate Williams.
So the tenants can access it, it's not necessarily like the building owner? Correct. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from members of the panel? Delegate Will.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Forgive me for not being able to put my eyes on a fiscal impact statement. We're talking.
Mr. Chair, I would say to the delegate that as last year's fiscal impact statement and what I've been told this year, that the department will be able to absorb the costs of such task force, that there will be no additional monies required to establish this.
Mr. Chairman.
Delegate Will.
So you said the department. I see multiple entities here listed, so they're all going to just absorb. That's just part of their daily work.
Correct. Mr. Chair, I would say to the delegate that is correct. Our leading department here is the Department of Housing and Community Development, so they would in fact absorb those costs.
Delegate Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A question for the patron.
Delegate Clark, go ahead.
Just wanted to make sure I was hearing correctly. So this bill would ultimately better coordinate for income qualified folks, and this will also help those that will be most in need. But also this will help our grid over time by we won't waste as much energy, correct?
Mr. Chair, I would say to the delegate that he is in fact correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. Delegate Shin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was just going to say that the bill from last year, as the patron said, the fiscal impact statement comes back and says that the Department of Housing and Community Development can absorb these costs within their current resources. And so I would imagine a similar FIS would be put onto this bill where it says that they can absorb those costs. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Seeing no further questions from members of the panel, is there anyone in the audience who'd like to testify in favor of HB 3?
Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee, Dana Wiggins with the Virginia Poverty Law Center. We thank the patron very much for the bill, and we think that we actually hope that we can work with her and other stakeholders to, at least for the first part of the bill, actually change the timeline to be a little bit sooner. We have a lot of that information already on hand, so we should have that information available, which we hope will also help with other pieces of legislation. And just to answer Delegate Williams's question, more particularly, for these programs, especially with multifamily, it's both, I mean, it doesn't have to be multifamily, the tenants and the landlords both benefit, or the owners both benefit from these programs.
Thank you. This line has gotten longer than I had expected, so I would just admonish brevity. We'll put a minute on you, but it would be really fun if you came in at less than a minute.
All right. Hello, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Tanisha Griffin, and I'm the Environmental Policy Analyst at New Virginia Majority. I just want to say that we strongly support the bill and thank Delegate Olivia Rowland for bringing it back again this year. We also really support the idea of this bill being able to close the gap that we have right now in the amount of income-eligible households who are receiving support, being able to get more of them, receiving more support from the state with better coordination. So thank you.
Mr. Chair, Chrissy Noonan with Seven Hills on behalf of Dominion. We support the bill, and Dominion looks forward to participating in the task force.
Kim Sutter, Policy Director with Virginia Interfaith Power and Light, and we emphatically support this bill. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Amanda Cox with Appalachian Power, and we support the bill. Energy efficiency and weatherization is critical in our service territory, especially the farther you go into Appalachia, so thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Ashley Crocker with Progress Virginia. We strongly support this bill for both environmental and equity reasons. 75% of Virginia households are cost burdened by their energy bills, and that means members of our community are being forced to choose between essentials like groceries and medication and keeping their home at a safe temperature during bad weather. We support the bill. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Excuse me. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. Morgan Whalen with Virginia Natural Gas, and we also support the bill. We think there may be time to start looking at some energy efficiency programs for gas. We're limited on what we can do right now as gas costs have become less, and so we think it's a great opportunity to explore that further. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee, Victoria Higgins, Chesapeake Climate Action Network Action Fund. I want to thank the patron for her leadership on this issue, and we also support her very popular bill.
Mr. Chair, members of the subcommittee, my name is Melissa Thomas. I'm with the Climate Equity Working Group. Thank you to the patron for bringing this back. We support this bill, as do 7 of our member organizations. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee, Bob Shippey, Sierra Club supports.
Mr. Chairman, Andrew Clark with the Home Builders Association following the Sierra Club rare occurrence, but we do support the bill. Just to put a finer point on the magnitude of the problem, about 800,000 households in Virginia pay more than 6% of their monthly income on energy costs. Folks at the lower income level are paying up to 17% of their monthly income on energy costs. So you think about rent, energy costs, people are just getting further priced out of the market. So we hope you support the bill. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, Blair St. Ledger Olson with the Virginia League of Conservation Voters, and to give us all a little joy, I would like to associate myself with the comments made by the Virginia Home Builders.
I love this subcommittee.
Mr. Chair, members of the subcommittee, Josepa Solomon with the Southern Environmental Law Center. I just want to thank the patron for bringing the bill again. We support.
Mr. Chair, members of the subcommittee, Matt Hollenbaugh, Appalachian Voices. We thank the delegate for her work on this bill, and we ask for your support.
Mr. Chair, members of the subcommittee, Lillian Anderson with Virginia Conservation Network. We're the partnership of over 160 environmental organizations across the state, and we also support the bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the room who wants to testify in opposition to the bill? Seeing none. Mr. Clerk, is Mr. Counts still offline, or does he? Not online. Okay, so there's no one online. All right. Any further comments or questions for the patron? Delegate, you have the last word.
I just would like to thank the committee and all of those who support the bill, and it is my hope that you'll pass the bill to do good for Virginians.
Delegate, one last comment. Again, just to advise the chair, my understanding is that, like Delegate Carr, you are talking to stakeholders and advocates. Again, I think a couple people mentioned that. Should the bill be reported, the full committee should not be surprised to find a substitute of some sort or some amendments by the time we get the thing finished. Is that
Correct.
fair?
That's fair to say.
All right, is there a motion?
Move to report.
Second. Got a motion to report properly seconded. Will you please open the roll? Go ahead and close the roll. The bill reports by a vote of 8-1.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee.
Delegate Cole.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Before you is HB 242, a consumer protection measure focused on predictability, transparency for residential utility customers who choose budget billing plans. And this fits in our messaging for affordabilities for Virginians.
Delegate Cole, if I hate to interrupt you, but
I'm sorry,
I seem to
Mr.
recall
Chair.
you have a line amendment.
I do have a line amendment.
Does council have the line amendment?
Yes, sure. The line amendment will be online shortly. It removes the phrase "or similar billing option" on line 16 to 17 and removes the text on line 18 about a 30-day notice requirement.
Thank you, Delegate Cole. Why don't you present your bill and in the process tell us exactly why you're making that line amendment?
Certainly. So the line amendment just strikes the language for other billing options. We had worked with a few stakeholders who wanted to make sure that the language was cleaned up, and striking all of line 18 to get rid of the language for the 30-day notice. And as I said, we are continuing to have conversations with utilities, advocates, and other stakeholders. And so we're fine-tuning some more language as well. But the basis of the bill is just to make sure that we're protecting affordability for ratepayers throughout the Commonwealth of Virginia. The bill establishes a clear rule. If a residential customer enrolls in a budget plan or similar billing options, the utility may not increase the customer's monthly payment more than once within a 12-month period. The bill also defines budget plan and statute to ensure clarity and consistencies across utilities, anchoring the concept to an annual estimate divided evenly over the year. And so we're still having conversations, but I hope that the committee would look favorably upon the bill as we continue to work through the process.
Thank you, Delegate Cole. Are there any questions from members of the committee for Delegate Cole? Seeing none, let's look to the audience. Is there anyone here to testify in favor of this bill?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ladies and gentlemen of the committee, Carmen Bingham with the Virginia Poverty Law Center. We thank the patron for bringing this bill forward and think it will reduce a lot of confusion for utility customers, and we support the bill.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. Morgan Whalen with Virginia Natural Gas. Thank Delegate Cole for the conversation. We support the bill moving forward at this time. We still would like to have some additional conversations with the delegate, especially about the seasonal nature of natural gas usage. We just want to ensure that a customer, year over year doesn't unexpectedly have a larger increase. Because again, a budget bill doesn't take away someone's bill. What it does is it spreads it over the next year. So from year one to year two, that we're just having conversations, especially as we think through the gas costs, which are a direct pass-through to our customers and are driven by the market. They're not something that B&G sets. And so we thank the delegate for his willingness to have more conversations, but we support it moving forward at this time. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, Chrissy Noonan with Seven Hills Strategy Group on behalf of Dominion. I'm in the support line. I will note that we were okay with the introduced bill. Just saw the amendment now and had the opportunity to speak briefly with the patron, Delegate Cole, during committee. I was actually working with the team yesterday to ensure that we could provide the notice that's required by this bill in a timely way. So all to say, we look forward to continuing to work with the patron. We're generally supportive of this concept, but just want to make sure that it's workable. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Noonan. Anyone here to testify in opposition to the bill? I don't see anyone online. So before I give you the last word, Delegate, I can't go back to the videotape, so I'm not sure, but just to make sure we're in the proper posture, you offered an amendment. Did someone move that amendment?
I'd move to adopt the amendment.
Anyone second it? All in favor? Any opposed? Great. The amendment is a part of our consideration. Delegate Cole, you want the last word?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just appreciate the ability to work with the stakeholders as we try to make an affordable Virginia for our constituents, and the willingness for them to work together with us so that we can continue to do that. And so I appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Delegate Wilt.
Speaking to the bill, Mr. Chairman.
Delegate.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I just gonna vote no to keep it on the regular calendar. Appreciate you continuing to work with the various parties, and that is a concern that I have, Mr. Chairman. Would be, under some circumstances that suddenly we all like surety, in a contract and so forth, but under certain circumstances, boom, your bill goes up. That's going to be passed into the next year, and then they get hit. Where possibly if you increased it incrementally over the current year, it might make it a little softer. I don't know, but yeah, I think that might be an issue that you continue to look at. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other comments from members of the panel?
Move to report.
Second. I have a motion to report properly seconded with the line amendment.
As amended, thank you.
Clerk will please open the roll. Members will cast their votes. You can close the roll. The bill reports with its amendment 8-1. Thank you, Delegate Cole.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the subcommittee.
Delegate Anthony, HB 25.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Right before you have HB 25 is the railroad safety minimum train crew used in movement of freight. with some civil penalties. I just wanted to remind the committee members back in 2024, this same bill was HB 385 and Senate Bill 143 that passed out of the General Assembly but was vetoed by the former Governor Glenn Youngkin. It simply just adds language to the Code of Virginia to maintain the current federal administrative regulation that any train, locomotive, or light engine used in connection with freight movement must operate with at least 2 qualified individuals as crew, and sets escalating civil penalties for violation. This bill is absolutely necessary. We want to make sure that to ensure common sense safety practice will remain in effect to protect Virginia communities and rail workers. Maintaining the requirement for 2-person crews will ensure these responsibilities can be handled simultaneously, thus improving the chances of catching and correcting a problem before it becomes a disaster, hello, New Kent, and allowing more rapid and effective responses when accidents do happen. So many opponents will say that we already have federal regulation which can be changed at a moment's notice by our president. There's already a bill in Congress which is called for the cancellation of the federal regulation, which is HR 5135. This is real simple. The state has a responsibility to act for safety in the event that there is no federal law. And if when a federal law exists, the federal law will override state law. So there is, nothing here, and there is no federal law. It is an administrative regulation that can be modified at any time. And so when we look at today's standards, railroads operate with 2 employees on all freight trains as an engineer who is responsible for a locomotive, the conductor who's responsible for the train, for example, cargo. This bill does not add any jobs or employees. It simply ensures the railroad continues to use the practice of safety first. And so when there is opposition to safety, I call into point when we voted this bill out of the House in 2024. At the very moment that the vote went on the board, there was a news alert that flashed on everybody's phone that says that there was a 9-car derailment in Lambert's Point, which is a community within my district. Luckily, the cars were not filled with coal at the time. So I do call into play things that we have seen in news already, including East Palestine, including New Kent, including Lambert's Point, and I can go on. So I hope it will be the will of the committee that we report this bill.
Thank you,
Mr.
Delegate.
Chair.
Any questions for the patron, but from members of the committee? Delegate Wilt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So you cited incidents in the past with rail. Do you have any evidence that what you're proposing here would have prevented any of those accidents?
What I do have, Mr. Chair, to the delegates' point that because we have the federal regulation, right now people are acting in practice, right? But right now there is call for cancellation of that practice. And so we want to ensure that at least this practice that we can regulate, because of course railroad is regulated at the federal level. Right now, 6 out of 12 states have now this law on the books, and New Jersey is waiting for a governor's signature. We will be the 14th state to put railroad safety into practice. And so, this is a safety bill. It's not a workforce expansion. It's a simple fix until the federal government gets its act together.
Any other questions for Delegate Anthony? Seeing none, is there anyone here who wants to testify in favor of HB 25? Yes, sir, come on down. You guys all coming down? Are you all talking?
They don't need to, if you don't want them to.
They're just there to
Good
show
afternoon.
support.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Ronnie Howes with Smart Union. Again, this bill has passed multiple times in this committee. It's passed in the House only to have our former governor veto it. Safety's not for sale. That's what it comes down to. It's not negotiated, whether it's on our party or their party. Virginia's not for sale. And so at the end of the day, we need to operate safely. We need to make sure that the members of this committee need to know that there is no double jeopardy. There is nothing in there because there is no law. Simply, there's a regulation. And so I would tell you that when that time comes, obviously that would take precedence. But right now, Virginia, we would be the 14th state to pass this, as New Jersey just passed it, and Maryland is sitting now with the House passed it, waiting for their Senate to pass it. So I would tell you, if you have any questions, and Mr. Chairman, when the question was asked about, is there any evidence having two on the crew? Our own Vice President Vance wrote this bill, and Ohio passed it. So just think about that after East Palestine.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else testify in favor of the bill? Yes, sir.
Chairman, to delegates, name is Tim Craver. I'm the Virginia State Legislative Board Chairman for the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers. I've been an engineer for 28 years, and this is absolutely needed to guarantee that there's a minimum of 2 people on that train. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Please vote for the bill.
We knew that's what you meant.
That's what I meant.
Anyone else?
Mr. Chair, my name is Sean McDaniel. I work for the railroad and I support this bill.
Thank you, Mr. McDaniel.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Justin Unger. I'm a conductor, Richmond, Virginia, CSX, Smart Local Chairman. We support this bill.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, board members. My name is Brother Troy Bryant, BLET Local Chairman, also First Vice General Chairman, Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers and Trainmen. Been on the job for 32 years, represented hundreds. This bill is definitely warranted and needed for our communities, not just politics that has no position in its safety. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Robert Martin. I'm a conductor and engineer for the Norfolk Portsmouth Beltline, and I support this bill.
How you doing? I'm Brian Ganis. I'm a conductor for the railroad. I support this bill.
Good afternoon, board. I'm Nicholas Broder, conductor. I support this bill.
Good afternoon. My name is Marquise Richardson. I'm a conductor, and I support this bill. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Doug Seltzer, conductor. I also support this bill.
Name is William Bates. I support this bill.
Good afternoon. My name is Michael Darsfield. I'm a conductor of CSX. I also support this bill.
Josh Foster, railroad conductor and engineer, and I support this bill.
Dr. Emily Yen, Smart Local 100, supports this bill. We believe that it's essential to have at least 2 crew members on every train. If the federal law regulations get repealed, there will be a lot of problems with ambulances getting stuck at train crossings, which will delay the time in which critical care can be provided in emergency rooms. This has happened in a number of places, and this will only increase if we do not put these safeguards in. Please support this bill.
Doris Krause Mays, Virginia AFL-CIO, and we support the bill. Thank you.
Thank you all. Anyone here testifying against the bill?
Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee, Rob Bohannon representing the Virginia Railroad Association. We represent the 2 Class 1 railroads and then Virginia's 9 short line railroads. 2 key points I want to make about this bill. As Delegate Anthony mentioned, it's been heard a number of times. Several years ago, the proponents said, we can't wait for the feds to act. There was a federal rulemaking going on, and we knew that was imminent. And in 2024, the FRA passed that final rule. Keep in mind that rule has fines upward of $30,000 if you don't comply. We've never heard any evidence that anyone's not complying. So that is, in effect, the law, the final rule. It's been in effect for 2 years. But now we're hearing that there's going to be some efforts to undo that. We have not, there may be a bill in Congress, but the other point I want to make is that even if that bill is repealed, the federal 3R Act actually prohibits making laws dictating crew size in this region. So even if the bill went away, state level laws in this region are actually preempted by the federal rule as well. Thanks.
Excuse me. Good afternoon. I am Randy Marcus with CSX Transportation. So we do oppose this bill for several reasons. First, this is in conflict with and preempted by federal law, is not supported by safety data, and risks making transportation goods less affordable and less competitive. So the FRA has a sole authority under federal law to make regulations related to railroad operations, safety issues, which includes crew staffing, to prevent a patchwork of state-by-state laws. The final rule that we've talked about today requires 2 persons for a crew in most freight operations, but includes specific exemptions in a petition process for 1-person crews. The federal rule also expressly preempts state laws to ensure the consistency of operations in conflict with proposed legislation. One other point I would like to make is these issues have been decided by collective bargaining with the railroads and our workers for over 100 years. If there was no federal law, if there was no state law, then this would continue to be done collectively with our unions, and we couldn't change the number of people in train operations without their agreement.
Sir, let me just ask you a question. Sir. You said it was in conflict with federal law. I thought the federal law or regulation currently is 2 crew members on a train.
It is, but it has a number of specific but important exemptions related to work trains, related to switching operations, related to remote control operations in some instances. That it does cover the vast majority of operations. And then for short line railroads, it does have a process for them to apply and also grandfather in some of their operations, not for the class 1s.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee, Ross Scrogg with Kemper Consulting on behalf of the Virginia Maritime Association, and we also oppose the bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Bill's back. There's no one online. The bill's back before the committee. Any further comments or questions from members of the committee? Delegate Anthony, you have the last word.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Just want to remind everybody that the two-person crew requirement exists as an administrative regulation, not as a federal statute. Therefore, it's volatile. And we know the volatility that's happening above the Potomac right now. And so therefore, it does not provide durable or permanent protection. Hence why 6 out of 12 states have already enacted this piece of legislation. Virginia needs safety. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Committee operates by motion.
Motion to report.
Second.
A motion to report, properly seconded. Clerk will please open the roll. Members, please cast your votes. Delegate Anthony, you might want to get up here. Clerk, please close the roll. The bill reports by a vote of 7-2. Thanks very much. Delegate Fagans, HB 67.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the subcommittee. Thank you for the opportunity to present House Bill 67, the Virginia Offshore Wind Workforce Development Act. A version of this bill passed both chambers last year with bipartisan support, but was vetoed. HB 67 is a straightforward but important workforce bill. It recognizes where Virginia already leads and where we must continue to invest. The bill directs the Department of Energy to do one simple but critical thing: ensures that Virginia's workforce is prepared to meet the demands of the growing offshore workforce industry. It calls for the development of industry-aligned training resources and curricula, including both technical skills and soft skills needed to succeed in these jobs. It also allows for the alignment with the internationally recognized safety standards such as the Global Wind Organization training, ensuring workers are prepared to meet employers and safety expectations from day one. Equally important, HB 67, it's about partnership and access. The bill requires the department to work with public and private colleges and universities, vocational and technical schools, apprenticeship programs, and at least one historically Black college or university. It prioritizes veterans, local workers, individuals from historically economically disadvantaged communities, ensuring that the benefits of this growing industry are shared broadly across the Commonwealth. Finally, this bill is especially important given the uncertainty we're seeing at the federal level around long-term support for offshore wind. At moments like this, Virginia must continue to lead and send a clear signal to workers, employers, investors, and most importantly, our constituents, that the Commonwealth remains committed to growing offshore wind and its workforce that it supports. HB 67 does exactly that, strengthening workforce pipelines, aligning training with real employer demand, and positions Virginia as a stable national leader in offshore wind workforce development. I ask that the subcommittee report and favorably support HB 67.
Thank you, Delegate Fagans. Any questions for Delegate Fagans from members of the panel? Delegate Williams.
Yeah, comment for the patron, I guess. Is this not the type of workforce development that New College Institute does already? This is that same kind of windshore development?
Mr. Chair, I would say to the delegate that yes, as someone who has actually supported NCI in the past, doing their veteran support of offshore wind, this actually helps to work in conjunction with the programs that are already existing at NCI.
Follow up, Mr. Chair.
Delegate Williams.
And let's just say the Commonwealth doesn't support offshore wind at some point. These individuals could go get jobs elsewhere that do support offshore wind.
Yeah, one of the most, Mr. Chair, one of the most important things about the training that's being done right now in the offshore wind work industry is that the training is very similar to what is being done in the maritime industry. So if for some unfortunate reason that offshore wind were to leave this area, those same training and especially the safety and the skills that it takes to work in the offshore wind industry are a lot of the same skills that you can see working in our maritime industry in Virginia.
Delegate Wilt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Delegate, help me understand a little bit more. One of your talking points was, I think you said, the volatility at the federal level in this whole space. So how does what you're proposing meld with that or separate from that? I mean, what's the connection? What are you trying? How would you try to fix what's happened at the federal level with your legislation?
Mr. Chair, I would say to the delegate that this bill definitely would not be able to fix much of the problems we're seeing, in my opinion, that are happening at the federal level. It is, though, important that we send a strong signal to the community, like I said, also to investors, and especially to our constituents that Virginia is going to continue to lead in offshore wind, that we're trying to find is the best ways we can to get those electrons being produced and sent back to homes in Virginia to hopefully lower costs of energy, and growing the offshore wind and making sure that we have the workforce to be able to support that is one of those key important parts of that.
Follow up, Mr. Chairman?
Delegate Will.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we've got our project. Forgive me for not knowing how far along we are in completion of that. Practically speaking, apparently there's already workers there that are doing that kind of work. Is this too late in the game? What does it look like going forward? It appears we already have people in this realm, in this industry working. So how are you going to improve on that?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I would answer to the delegate that this bill is looking at exactly to do that in terms of enhancing the workforce that is already here right now by making sure that the Department of Energy is looking at ways to increase the workforce that is available, streamlining, and especially as I've sat and worked and talked with many of the partners that are currently working in offshore wind, one of the important things they often talk about is the lack of streamlined training of the various training sites. Like, for example, working in conjunction potentially with NCI, we're also looking at that, unfortunately, that some of the training sites that are being sent, that sometimes are sending individuals outside the Commonwealth. Ultimately, what we want to do is make sure that, especially as a lot of the workforce is in Hampton Roads, looking at ways that, especially on the soft skills side, getting those skill sets available to our growing workforce there.
And there are some of us who hope we do even more offshore wind here in Virginia eventually.
I would agree to that, Chair.
Delegate Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Question for the patron. Just my question was, currently right now, where does most of the training happen? Is it in Hampton Roads or is it more outsourced?
There are actually various training platforms. As was mentioned, I've consulted in the past for New College Institute to help out with their, to get veterans into their training program out there. Additionally, you'll see workers being trained at various outside places in northern parts and also various places where you'll see wind development, potentially like in the Midwest.
Awesome, thank you.
Delegate Williams, you got another question?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to take the opportunity to plug New College Institute one more time in Martinsville, Virginia.
Paid advertisement. Anything else from members of the panel? Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to testify in support of this bill?
Mr. Chair, Committee, Jason Parker, Virginia State Building Construction Trades Council. The Hampton Roads area is perfectly positioned with the bridge tunnels, Chesapeake Bay to be a hub for offshore wind. So the answer to some of the questions there, this industry is not going away. It's a very good piece to a portfolio of power sources. It could also, if we were smart, we would try to get the supply chain built there, which would make us a hub for shipping offshore wind to the world. So I think that we need to take a longer vision if we could on this, and this is a great start. I'd like to thank the delegate for carrying this bill. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, Blair St. Ledger Olson with the Virginia League of Conservation Voters. I'll just add one piece to what's already been discussed. Every 2 years, our workers do have to be recertified by the Global Offshore Wind Council. They currently are being sent to New Orleans for their training. This would allow us to have that certification program here in Hampton Roads. I think that's a better use of both our ratepayer dollars and creating a hub, a supply chain, and the workforce development that we need to support this industry. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, members of the subcommittee, my name is Abigail Thompson with Gentry Lock, here on behalf of Advanced Energy United, and we support this bill.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee. I'm Brent McKenzie with the City of Virginia Beach, and we'd like to thank the patron for his leadership on this, and we support this legislation. This is a critical part of our future energy portfolio, but also a critical part of Virginia Beach's future workforce. So we appreciate the work on this.
Mr. Chair, members of the subcommittee, Chrissy Noonan with Seven Hills on behalf of Dominion Energy. We appreciated the time the patron took last year working on this bill with us. We supported it then and we support it now. Thanks.
Mr. Chair, members of the subcommittee, my name is Patrick Brigham with IBEW Local 666. Our electricians and the hundreds of apprentices we represent here in Central Virginia look forward to the opportunity to get a chance to learn and build the next generation of Virginia's electrical infrastructure. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Ethan Betterton with the Virginia Chamber of Commerce. We support the bill. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Bob Shippey with Sierra Club, and we support the bill as well.
Is there anyone here who wants to testify against the bill? Seeing none, any further members of the committee? Any questions from members of the committee? Delegate Fagans, last word.
I would just say that, especially with much of what we've seen over the past year at the federal government, while I know this bill will not solve many of the issues we're seeing in terms of the uncertainty with the offshore wind industry up and down, not just in Virginia, but on the East Coast, it is important for us as leaders in the Commonwealth to make sure that we're sending this signal that we believe in the workforce. We believe in the future of growing offshore wind in Virginia, and this bill will send that signal that not only do we support the industry, that we support the availability of growing our renewable energy here in Virginia.
Thank you, Delegate Fagans. Committee operates by motion.
Move to report. Second.
I have a motion to report properly seconded. Clerk will please open the roll. Members, please cast your votes. And close the roll. The bill passes. Reports by a vote of 9-0. Thank you, Delegate Fagans. The last bill, ladies and gentlemen, is my own. This is HB 3:24, I will head to the podium and ask Delegate Shin to conduct this portion of the meeting.
Mr. Chair, when you're ready, you've got House Bill 323. Is that right? Sorry.
324.
Thank you. 324.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Earlier today, we heard a great story of persistence from our chairwoman, who spent many years on the bill she presented to us. I would offer mine as a similar story of persistence. I am here for the fourth time, so for the new members on our panel, if at first you don't succeed, keep trying. This particular bill has sort of succeeded a little bit more every year. First I got it through subcommittee, couldn't get through committee. Then I got it through committee, I couldn't get it through the Senate. Then I got it through here, got it through the Senate, got it in the budget. And last year, when we passed the bill, had it in our budget, Governor Youngkin vetoed it. So I stand before you with the very same bill that that this body passed last year and sent to the governor, and suggest that we should send it to the governor again. This bill has to do with expanding our EV infrastructure. That's a fancy way of saying charging stations. Whether you like EVs or not, whether you believe in EVs or not, that transition remains underway. The numbers of purchases of EVs continue to grow, both here in Virginia and in surrounding states. And so the purpose of this bill is to try to focus our efforts on what I think has been an area that's not been the focus of what's been happening at the federal level. There's a federal program to increase infrastructure, charging stations around our highways, which tends to focus, because that's where our highways go through, our urban centers, and it's only within a mile of our highways, and as we all know, Virginia is a very big state. So from both the perspective of our own citizens who want to take advantage of buying and driving EVs, but need to be closer to charging stations, and probably just as importantly to people outside of our state whom we want to come to our state, to come to our beautiful rural areas, but they drive an EV. We want them to be comfortable that there will be a place for them to charge their cars. So this is as important to individual Virginians as it is to our tourism industry. And there's lots of examples, maybe they're even here today, certainly they have been in the past, of the tourism industry being very interested in accelerating and expanding Virginia's electric vehicle infrastructure. So I'll close my remarks by, if I didn't say it once, I'll say it again. We've already passed this bill, and would ask that the committee pass it again so that we can get it on its way to the governor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Are there any questions from members of the committee at this time? Seeing none, we'll take public comment, and so if there are folks who would like to speak in support of this bill, if you would please come forward.
Madam Chair, Rob Bohannon, representing the Smith Mountain Lake Chamber of Commerce. This issue comes up all the time with the visitors that come to the region. As Delegate Sullivan mentioned, a lot of the EV charging network is interstates and all right off the highway. We're kind of located off that area, so it would be helpful to have more of this for the visitors that come to the lake in the summertime.
Thank you, Mr. Bohannon. Good afternoon.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, my name is Thomas Turner, State Director for Conservatives for Clean Energy. As we have supported this over the years, we support this bill. We thank the delegate for his continued advocacy of this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Madam Chair, Kyle Shreve on behalf of Virginia, Maryland, and Delaware Association of Electric Cooperatives. We support the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Shreve.
Good afternoon, Trip Pollard with the Southern Environmental Law Center. As has been said, this bill is really important to build out our network for tourism, for other businesses, for consumers. It's also important to promote clean vehicles overall, which is important for our health and our environment. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee. Tommy Herbert, representing the Virginia Restaurant, Lodging and Travel Association. We're in support of the bill. We think that rural Virginia, particularly Western and Southwestern Virginia, have been undergoing a real renaissance in tourism, especially related to other nature-focused things like extreme sports and hiking. And we think that this bill and other efforts to make this and make those areas an option for EV drivers are only going to help those numbers increase. So thank you. We support the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Herbert. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak in opposition to this bill? Seeing none, I'm going to bring it back to the committee and see if any members. Oh,
Madam Chair.
Yes, Delegate Williams.
Had a question for the patron.
Sure.
On the fund, I kept reading through and I was wondering where the funds would come from. This is a general funded fund.
Thank you for the question, Madam Chair. Delegate Williams, there will be a budget amendment for this. There are also, by the way, I should say, some grant funds from the feds available. One of the things that was ironic to me last year as the bill failed was last year's Director Davis announced with great fanfare some EV charging stations that were built in some rural areas of Virginia with some federal money. So the hope is that we can, I have a budget amendment in. There's hope we can get this in the budget. There may be other ways that we can use other funds, non-general funds or federal funds. But that's step two. Got to get it through this committee first.
Mr. Chair, may I ask, because it was included in the budget that passed last year with the allotment, wouldn't that have been carried over as non-general fund?
Governor took it out of the budget.
Oh, he took it out of the budget. I see. Okay. Great. I'm going to see if there's anyone else. Oh, Delegate Clark.
Yes, statement to the patron.
A comment speaking to the bill.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Just wanted to thank you for your tenacity for continuing to bring this bill forward. This is going to be such a game changer out in Suffolk, Franklin, Alawite County, where we have no EV charging stations. So just thank you for continuing to fight for the rural folks.
Thank you, Delegate Clark. Mr. Chair, would you like your final word?
Just one last thing, Madam Chair. If there happened to be a motion to report, this has to go to appropriations.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If Mr. Clerk, you would open the roll for members to cast their.
Has there been a motion?
Madam Chair.
I need a motion first.
Madam
Sorry.
Chair.
Yes.
Move to report and refer to appropriations.
Second.
There's a motion that's been properly seconded. Now, Mr. Clerk, if you would please open the roll and members can cast your votes. Mr. Chair, your bill successfully reports and is referred to appropriations by a vote of 6-3. Thank you for your persistence.
Thank you, Delegate Shin. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes Chapter 1 in this session's Sub 3 drama. We'll see you all, I think, Thursday. We're adjourned.